I'm in San Diego right now for a shoot, and earlier today we were filming some time lapse and drone shots down by the beach. So we were walking along Mission Beach, and we looked like complete tourists. We had our cameras, I had my GoPro, it looked pretty ridiculous and a lot of stuff, and people were definitely looking and probably thought that we were extreme tourists just looking for, I don't know, to take photos or whatever. But that's kind of the idea of a tourist, right? Someone who has a camera on their neck at all times, who's just snapping away, taking photos. And why is that? Why do tourists have cameras all the time and the locals don't? Well, I think the answer is kind of obvious, but it's because the tourists aren't from that location, and whatever they're seeing is new and it's unique and it's interesting. It's something they haven't seen before, and so they want to take photos of it and capture it. And all the locals see it every day, and it's just normal for them, so why take a picture, right? And this is kind of interesting because I think it's really relevant for stock photos and stock video if that's something you're interested in doing. I know me personally, I live in Arizona currently, and I do a lot of time lapse of the desert, and I almost have to force myself to do it because living in Arizona, it's just the natural landscape. You see a lot of it, and it doesn't seem all that special or that interesting, so why would I go take a time lapse of it, or why would I go take pictures of it? But you have to remember that other people don't live where you live, and they're not interested. Like what you see every day is brand new to them and something that they've never seen before, or it's something they love to see. So now that I'm in San Diego, I'm like, oh, I want to go down to the beach. I want to capture waves. I want to get all this great shots of the ocean because I don't have that every day. And I'm sure the people here are like, it's the ocean. Like, come on, what's so special about it? And so this can be really helpful when you're looking to do stock video or stock photo, just thinking, like looking at where you live and understanding the value that's there, that's inherent to your situation. Because it's very easy to dismiss where you live and write it off as something that isn't worth taking a picture of or isn't worth recording because it's where you live. It's normal, it's bland, it's boring. But for other people out there, that might not be the case. So it's actually funny, a lot of the stock footage that I have, the time lapses that I have of the desert, of cactus and sunsets with Arizona clouds and the red rocks and that kind of stuff, is actually pretty popular because it's something that not a lot of people have access to, and I kind of take it for granted. So the tourist effect of just always having a camera, I think if you're looking to get into taking stock photos or you're capturing stock footage, you have to kind of almost make yourself a tourist in your own environment and just go crazy, because even something in your backyard could be amazing for someone else. You know, like Arizona, we don't get snow where I live down in Phoenix. You can go up north and you can actually find snow in Arizona occasionally, but it's a little different compared to someone who, you know, has snow year round, or there's like glaciers, or there's the ocean, or there's forests, you know, like there's stuff that's really cool everywhere. And I used to live in Iowa, and they're like farmland. Like I love seeing farmland because I don't get to see it anymore, but it could be pretty boring if you live there. But you have to get yourself out of that mindset and look at what you have around you, because it's really easy to get excited when you're traveling and go and try and take photos and take video and do the whole thing. But the thing that's really nice when you're a local is you can kind of find the best spots, and if you go out and it doesn't turn out right, or the clouds weren't good that day, or the weather was bad, you can go out the next day and redo it. You know, if it's a good spot, you can just reuse it over and over again and get new and interesting stuff there. Someone who's a tourist or just visiting, traveling around the country, the weather might be bad for them. The clouds might not be as nice. The location might be closed down for whatever reason. So it's a little bit harder when you are someone who's traveling around trying to capture this stuff as compared to if you're local. But as a local, you have to look at your own environment and say, okay, why is this special? What is it about it that I can capture and find value for other people? Because then you can go put it online, and there's people out there who don't have that in their backyard, and they're gonna buy it, or they're gonna find it interesting and look at it and think, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. You know, even the difference between people who live in the city and people who live out in the countryside or in the suburbs, like it's all valuable to someone else. And you just always have to keep that in mind, that your backyard, what you think is boring, someone else is going to think is awesome. And I don't think there's any environment that you could be in and say, oh, this no one would ever be interested in this, so I'm not going to film it. I'm not going to take photos of it, because chances are it's just you looking at it like a local and not looking at it like a tourist.